he would take his victims and handcuff them, and then he would put a glass rod into their
Stop. Nope.
bowl,
No more.
and then he would hit it with a hammer on the outside.
No.
Wasn't he good friends with Dr. Phil?
I don't know. But yeah, that was one of his ways of being a sick pervert.
Oh.
Sounds awesome.
We are a Linux podcast, right? All right, welcome to episode 243 of the Linux Lugcast. We are an open podcast / lug that meets at 9 p.m. Eastern every first and third Friday of the month using Mumble. We encourage anyone who is listening to join us and participate on the podcast. All you have to do is install Mumble or go to the, I forgot to put that link into the website. After this show, when I publish this show, I'll put the link to the website for the web version of Mumble. Yeah, Mumble Web. Because that way they don't even have to install Mumble. If you have any questions, comments, or topics like us to discuss and are unable to join us live during the show, you can send us an email at feedback@linuxlugcast.com. We have a Lemmy page where we post things that we sometimes talk about on the show. We have a Matrix channel which we go to and just BS about just about anything. And then there is a video version you can find on Peertube and YouTube. Links for all these are both on linuxlugcast.com and in the show notes. I'm your host for this evening, Honkey Magoo. With us tonight is Joe.
Yep.
Minnix.
Hello.
Morton C.
Hello, everyone.
And Netminer.
Here.
He's muted at the moment.
He's
all right.
Watching YouTube.
So, apparently we're all chomping at the bit to talk about this movie. We're actually going to start
Hello,
off
friends.
with the... Oh, there he is. Hey!
It seems that I did not miss this movie.
No.
Get right into it.
Right.
The Linux Movie Cast.
So, our movie this time around was Cyber Seeker from... What year did this come out?
1993.
93. Does anybody want to give a quick synopsis?
Yeah, I can. This is the way I understand it is now the year 2013. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Deep into the future.
And there was a virus that spread called HIV-8, and it basically killed off a bunch of people. So you have kind of this dystopian society above ground, and the elites live underground, or they live underground or behind a...
Underground.
Okay, yeah. Underground, also behind like a net, like an electric vaporizing force field, yeah. And
that's just basically a little wall around the opening.
It's a death wall, yeah.
Yeah, so none of the above ground garbage can go into their lair. And it stars Joe Estevez.
That's it.
The lesser known brother. He's a brother? Or is he the cousin? Or
brother?
Okay. Anyway, and he plays a, I don't think he's the president, but he's like...
The guy in charge.
Guy in charge, yeah, of the underground city. And above ground you have this cast of characters, including...
The guy sounds exactly like his brother Martin Sheen.
Looks a lot like him, too.
And looks very close to him, but honestly, the voice is just so much like his.
It is. If Martin Sheen was born with like fetal alcohol syndrome or something, that's what you get Joe Estevez.
Yeah.
And so I guess he'll do anything, because I looked him up on IMDb after watching this, and he's in like a million movies I never even heard of. Like,
he's the budget Martin Sheen.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And so anyway, so there's that. The virus is spread, and they have these certain kind of commandos or soldiers called seekers that look for the remaining vials of the virus called HIV-8 that are somehow scattered around the world, and
Also called the Reaper.
Also called the Reaper. The device is called the Reaper. And above ground, there's a kind of just bad guy. I don't know what you would call him, who has found one of these vials, and he's also created a cyborg to help him out and be his bodyguard, basically. And so his plan is to tell the people, the elites living in the underground city, that he's going to release the virus if they don't give up the city and give him control of the city. And so the Joe Estevez sends out a cyber seeker to go and get the last vial of HIV of the Reaper, HIV-8, and bring it back so that you can neutralize the bad guy and his cyborg. So that's kind of the skeleton story of the movie.
The Seeker is the budget version of Brandon Lee. And
that was the budget version of Don the Dragon Wilson.
Maybe, except he does more martial arts in the movie than Don usually does, which is why I say the budget version of Bruce Lee's son.
And his last name is Lee too in the credits.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay. But he's imprisoned, and you find out later on it's because he got pissed off at his handlers because they wouldn't let his brother into the city who happened to be blind.
Yeah, he was deemed a degenerate or whatever. Oh,
a viral. You got to remember the virals.
Yeah, and here's another part of the story. You find out later on, spoiler alert for anybody that's going to watch this, there's the way that the virus actually got out into the world was intentionally spread by the elites to kill off all the riffraff and start society over again with rich people, basically, and people
get rid of
in power.
The overpopulation problem.
Yeah, overpopulation was the number one problem. That's kind of how that goes.
And then the virals are people essentially, but they survived the virus. Like very few people that got it survived it, and they're all like scarred up and hideous looking. And evidently, some of the children had a genetic mutation where they ended up being cannibals. But they couldn't help it because it was a genetic mutation.
Yeah, that's what the doctor said. It's not their fault.
Orange is going to get us taken down.
What's he doing?
Nothing.
I didn't say it.
He didn't say a word.
But it's honestly really, really weird how many of the virals, you know, this subspecies of humans that are degenerated, knew Eskrima. I mean, it was really surprising how many knew martial arts and really, really knew stick fighting well.
They're also cannibals.
And they ate people. They set up traps and, ate people.
Maybe they were taught by their leader, school teacher, that wanted to help them.
The guy that did all the bad crap, got the vial and everything, it starts out, he's all by himself. Yeah, Roth, whatever. He's all by himself, and he just randomly, beats up some dudes, finds this viral thing somewhere, and then the next time you see him, he's like in control of a whole band of raiders, and he's trying to make deals with the virals, and he has an entire harem of extremely fit topless strippers.
Yeah, they kind of cut out the middle part of how that all began, because it began, he just had a tent and he was putting together a cyborg in it.
No, he had a shed.
He had a
Unabomber shed
with him putting a hubcap under his shirt and then fighting.
That was fantastic.
Fighting some virals.
Him and his hubcap.
And then cutting off the head of one of the virals and putting it on a pole as a warning.
Yeah, evidently he was a big fan of like Clint Eastwood movies. The hubcap under the shirt for protection there.
Right.
Let's talk about the budget real quick, because I think that was unique.
It all went to the Sheen.
No, the various scenes with very fit topless girls, because there were several. I was expecting like one instance of gratuitous nudity, which is what you would get from a late 80s, early 90s movie. But there was just so many boobs in this movie that, that's the only reason it was remotely watchable.
And it was shot on VHS camera, I think, shot directly to video. It looked like it had that look like.
No, maybe, but it also had that severe lack of motion blur that started happening in mid 90s soap operas that makes it kind of look unreal when things move. Like a high quality camera was used, like so high quality that when it moved, everything stays in focus and it just makes it look wrong.
I think it was a good camera, but I also think it was just shot directly to video. I'm pretty sure there wasn't any film involved with this.
Yeah, it was very digital. And yeah, a lot of the scenes, I kept being surprised that the background music for Tank Girl didn't start playing.
Background music also was absolutely horrible. None of it seemed to match any situation at all.
Yeah,
When
it
there
did have
was
a lot
some,
of.
then there was times when there was nothing.
Well,
Yeah.
how'd you like those credits in the very beginning? The
There were
orange background with the black cloud fade effect that would fade into the movie every time it changed.
There were also, I don't know if you guys watched the same one that I did. I don't know where you watched it or whatever. But like there were several scenes where all you had was background noise and you could see people talking, but you couldn't actually hear anything other than, the background noises.
Yeah, I don't think they used lav mics or anything. I think it was just recording straight through the video camera, probably.
It cost too much money.
Microphones, sound quality.
But the story I thought was kind of overreaching for the budget that they had.
Absolutely.
I'm also everybody goes down below and everything goes to hell. It's not a nuclear thing, but somehow the land turned, the above ground turns into a desolate landscape. Why? If there's
they're in
less
the
people,
desert.
that should be the opposite effect.
They had to be in Southern California or
Well, yeah,
Arizona.
but they were talking about how because there was less people that the Earth turned into a desolate place.
That's weird.
It should turn into a very lush place.
Yeah.
Exactly. It should be the exact opposite.
Right.
It's not like there was a nuclear attack which killed everything.
Right.
It's the opposite.
And then randomly they just decide that the guy that they sent out, the seeker that they sent out, yeah, you got to kill him.
Right.
Just kill him.
Yeah, his name is Roger Lee. He plays Ryan Steele.
It's a very manly name that he has right there.
Right.
And then there was one guy called, was it Risk or was it Rix?
I think it's Rix.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't get his backstory. He was supposed to kill everybody.
No, he
It
was
wasn't
just
a
supposed
backstory.
to.
That was it.
He was just supposed to kill Steele.
Why?
Well, and abandon everybody else.
Another thing that got me is, this is supposed to be in the future, 10 years after everything went to hell. Evidently, Fruit of the Loom is still in business because the
Sure.
underwear that scientist lady that they randomly had to bring with them to verify shit, that just stuck something into a little mini computer to verify it because nobody else could do that.
Right.
Like when she randomly gets undressed on her first day out to go take a bath in this unknown water, she has like some high quality Fruit of the Loom underwear there.
Yeah.
She had the body to be as naked as she was on there, but there was no point in having her in the entire movie.
No.
Hey, care to guess how many movies Joe Estevez has been in without looking it up?
127.
Morrissey says 2. You say 120.
45.
I say 127.
321 movies.
Damn.
It says he has 18 upcoming.
And
18
hold on.
upcoming?
Yeah.
I do vaguely remember reading some portions of that,
Well,
and he's had
Scotch.
like 3 of his own, or 2 of his movies that were done by MST3K, and then like another 3 that were hit by riff tracks or something.
Wow.
I'd imagine.
He ought to win some kind of Golden Razzie Award or something. Pretty impressive. But it was. Somebody said it was better than Soldiers. Was that
Universal Soldiers? Yeah.
Yeah, I have to agree with that.
No, I have to agree with that too. But
But
still,
was it entertaining?
It was easier to watch than Gunhead.
Well, yeah.
Entertaining.
Pretty much everything is.
Entertaining. Meh.
I think they were a little too ambitious.
Yeah, the plot was too hard to follow.
Yeah, they should have pared it way down, and for the budget they had. What'd you think about? Oh, also that final death scene of Roth, the bad guy, when he throws him into that.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about the quality CGI in this film yet. Because no, it was interesting when they threw the rock at the barrier to show that what would happen, and when they threw the rock, it kind of like turned into dust.
Yeah,
and that was kind of understandable. But then when they threw the guy into it, or kicks the guy into it,
it turns into like the hologram.
Yeah,
man,
he starts shrinking, and this whole digital effect thing. I figured they were going to do the whole blood mist thing, and they just didn't.
No, it was so crazy looking. I was like, that is the dumbest effect I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was bad. And then the explosions, which, just looked so much like explosions.
That was great. Did they even bother with an explosion? They had the flare sitting on the dynamite, and they had like the girl leaning up against the wall, and then she had to like pretend like something happened, and then they had the steel was on the ground in front of her. He's like, "Oh, you okay?" Oh, they did. Then you're right. They did that fake fire thing come up through the
valley or whatever around the corner from where the explosion was.
So horribly bad.
That's how they got rid of the cyborg,
right?
Or the robot.
Directed by Mike Tristano. What else has he done?
That guy needs to never make a movie. Ever.
Did he make anything else?
14 movies.
14?
Yeah. You know what his specialty is? He is a master armorer.
Shit.
Master armorer and weapons maker. That's what he
should stick to that shit.
Does for a living.
Is Master Armor the hubcap?
Yeah.
And that's how the Seeker survived getting shot with a crossbow.
Yeah, I like how everything uses crossbow.
Yeah, so there are crossbows, but only like certain people use them for some reason. There's no guns, even though it's only 10 years into the apocalypse.
Now, why did they go with, okay, we have to send this small amount of the virus down into the hole? Well, let's use a crossbow to shoot it. We got to use this. We got to somehow get this thing. At this point, just take the vial and a little bit of the vial and chuck it down there. Why'd they have to shove a crossbow down into a hole and then shoot it down?
That they had to have some kind of visual.
On that same line. So he just Steele puts the vial of virus into Joe Estevez's mouth and makes him swallow it.
And he immediately starts dying.
Yeah. But what's going to happen? I mean, the rest of the virus is going to go out into the air, right?
Right. It's not going to come out as pores or anything, and Steele's not going to die right after.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't make sense.
Another thing too is it's HIV-8, but unless it changed, HIV is sexually transmitted or through blood transfusion. So how is it like that?
They were saying that they modified it. That like
right.
they
made it airborne.
Yeah, they modified it into essentially a chemical weapon, is what they were saying.
Right.
And they were supposed to be able to control the distribution, so they could do it to a specific area, and then they could stop it. But it went out of control.
Right.
Because
they added too much bath salt.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure they accidentally added too much crocodile, and that explains the virals. Do not look that up. Do not look up crocodile. I am telling you, listeners, do not look up crocodile. You will regret it.
Injecting codeine and gasoline mix under your skin.
You will regret looking that up. As Honkey goes and looks that up. You will regret it.
I'm looking at the other movies this guy directed, Mike Tristano. A surprisingly large number of them have Joe Estevez in it. Beast, The Summoned, Flesh Merchant, Cyber Seeker, Body Count, Warrior of Justice.
He did one of the Feast movies?
Well, this is from '92.
Oh, I think the Feast movies I'm thinking of came later. But those were quality movies. I highly recommend those.
Doubt it's this one.
The trilogy.
Yes.
This is called a cannibal comedy. Two guy roommates lure lovely ladies back to their bachelor pad for a dinner they'll never forget.
No, the Feast movie I'm talking about has to do with aliens, and Jay is in it.
How about The Flesh Merchant? A team of LA detectives hunts down the ringleaders of a sex slave operation. What do you want to bet that most of these movies have lots of boobs in them?
Well, there were lots and lots of boobs in this movie.
I don't think Feast was aliens.
Oh, you're right. It was some ancient, creature from Earth.
Yeah, like Welsh folktale or something.
Yeah.
That all came from that Bravo reality show where directors get to make their first movie with other people. Matt Damon was involved in that one.
Oh, I know Jason Mewes was involved in Feast. And Ben Affleck and Matt Damon were executive producers. I'm really surprised they were willing to put their names on that.
Excuse me, do you realize that I was just eating supper and... Well...
Hey, I put a disclaimer. I said do not look that up. Several times.
I didn't look that up. I'm talking about the movie. This movie is enough shows that I have a strong stomach.
I'm going to give this movie a thumbs down. I think it could have had potential if they would have pared down the plot a little bit and not try to make it so complex for the budget they had, and just make it a straightforward kind of sci-fi action in the desert or something. But they tried to cram too much in it, and sorry, Mr. Mike Tristano.
I don't know. I don't even know what to call it. It's so complex.
So back to Feast. That was a amateur filmmaking documentary series for contestants on Project Greenlight, which I think was on Bravo. And they paired them with the different directors, filmmakers. They paired them with different people to help them with the make a film. So that's how that first one originated. Was the best thing I saw that came out of that show.
I'm really surprised. I mean, I'm looking at the Wikipedia page, and this movie Feast cost $3.2 million to make, And it only made in the box office $658,000, and yet they still made 2 sequels.
Yeah.
Was it any good?
Oh, it was garbage in the best kind of way.
Oh yeah, it's wonderful.
It's fun to watch with friends.
It is so fun. Yes, yes.
Okay.
There was some stuff they did in the first one that from what I remember, that was I mean, there was comical stuff in it. There was just off the wall stuff. They start off by having all the characters being stereotypical, and they're like putting up on the screen as they introduce the characters, the hero, and all this stuff, and it's just it's awesome.
As soon as he's called the hero, and it says this guy kicks ass.
Whoa! Shut up.
Okay, I'm gonna stop there.
I'll get it on my watch list.
I have the trilogy.
What when was the first one put out?
You definitely need to watch. Let me see. The year 2005.
Did I watch all
And then
three?
Sloppy Seconds is 2008, and The Happy Finish is 2009.
I've never seen giant robots be that anticlimactic.
Got a 6.2 on IMDb. It's pretty good.
It's some quality garbage right there.
If you like horror stuff, it is very fun.
Because this was a bad movie that we watched, but it would have been a bummer to like coerce my friends into watching this. It was it wasn't a fun movie.
There was nothing really redeemable about this movie. I watched most of it at 2x, and even that couldn't make most of it watchable.
Ooh,
Granted, there were scenes where I slowed it down to 1.
Why?
Boobs.
Yeah. Can you speed up
That
Peertube?
woman with the nice rack. Yeah.
By the way, I really appreciate the fact that you put it on the Peertube.
Yeah, that's where I watched it.
I did not have to download it and dirty up my jellyfin with that.
If you're wondering what I use to speed it up, and it works on any video that I've come across, not just Plex, but there is an extension to Chrome that you can get called Plex Speed, and that will speed up any internet-based video up to 2x.
So, does anybody give this a thumbs up?
No.
Hornsey? Not even you?
Do not recommend.
Alright, you guys ready for the next movie?
Bikini Hackers.
By the way, what part of this was considered tech related?
The title.
Maybe the
Yeah, what part of it? They weren't seeking anything cyber. Why were they called cyber seekers?
I don't know.
They were seeking vials of.
Because it sounds cool.
I could see it being called Cyber Seeker if the droid was the Cyber Seeker.
Yeah.
Right.
But it wasn't.
Or if they were seeking droids out instead of vials of the Reaper.
Drugs. Yeah.
Alright, here we go.
Freejack.
Love that
1992.
movie.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a good movie.
Starring Emilio Estevez, Mick Jagger, and Rene Russo.
Good music in that movie.
This came out in 1992. Never seen it.
Time travel movie.
Oh, Anthony Hopkins, Jonathan Banks. I've heard of this.
I wouldn't want you to think I don't value my life highly.
Does that start with the race car?
Yes.
What are you doing that for?
Oh, that's horrible. I told you not to look it up.
That's gross. That's what is that called?
Crocodile.
Crocodile. So that's what it does to your skin.
Essentially, that's what you do to your skin.
What did you?
Become
What
a
did you say?
crocodile.
What did you say it has in it?
I think it's codeine and gasoline. They use cough syrup to make it.
Do we all try it together next time we meet up?
No.
That was what about 15 years ago? 15 years ago, that was a big thing.
Yeah.
That's so horrible.
Oh, I think I've seen a picture of people with their bones exposed.
Yes.
Oh,
You see that ghost? There's a ghost behind Joe that knocked some things over.
Evidently. I don't know what fell.
Got it captured on film. It looked like some yellow boxes or something.
Yeah, it was Cyclops is after me.
Is it a bobblehead? Or what do they call them?
Sort of. This one's a Derbs.
Derbs.
Vinyl collectible.
Yeah, he's praying the spirits away. Those monks in the Kung Fu movies. Get out of here, spirit.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about the priest in the movie, or that what looked like an Apple OE2.
Oh, what he was programming the android on?
Well, yeah, and what he showed all the information about how, the elites created the thing to the scientist lady.
Was that an Apple II?
I have no idea. It had the they didn't show enough of it for me to be able to say, but the screen was the two-color green and white or whatever.
Yeah. This movie gets stars.
There's so much to
zero
talk about with that movie.
Big fat zero.
We could spend more time talking about all of the garbage in that movie than the actual length of the movie.
How long was that movie?
Hour and 30, I think. Hour and 40.
Yeah, too long.
Too long.
We should start at the beginning of the Joe Estevez filmography and just go through all his movies.
Word.
All right. So has anybody done anything tech related in the past week?
Well, we'd already talked about the start of my project here.
All right.
What was that?
Oh, I got a DVD duplicator case. It's actually, populated with all the drives and everything. But I got it for free, and they're actually usually pretty expensive to buy them. But somebody was giving it away on Facebook Marketplace, so I ended up
put a
getting
DVD in it and you can duplicate it?
Yeah, you can. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 DVD slots, so you can make 7 copies of a single DVD using the controller there that it has. So it's got 9 slots in it.
Pretty
that
cool.
are 5 1/4, and so all it is 9 5 1/4 slots and a power supply in a casing.
But you don't connect it to your computer?
Correct. It has no way to connect to a computer. But I'm not planning on using it to duplicate DVDs. I'm planning on ripping out all the drives and the little 5 1/4 control thing that it has there that does all that, and putting in 5 1/4 inch adapters to 3.5 inch hard drives, and putting screens on the front of that, and then using the power supply with the SATA connections. I'm planning on making a direct attach storage box And in order to do that, I found I need about $60 worth of parts. That's a $13 if I get it on eBay. PCIe SAS card, and then two $20-ish SAS to SATA cables that are 6 foot long, and yeah, hook in the drives after I 3D print all the adapters, and hook them up to the power supply, and it's good to go.
Is the current power supply powerful enough for all those drives?
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to take much to do. It already has all the SATA connections on it and control all those SATA drives. It's I think I'm gonna have to double check. I think it's either a 300 watt or a 500 watt.
Oh, okay.
But even then, you're not usually accessing all of the drives at any given time anyway. So I don't think that there's any way for it to blow out that power supply accessing all the drives.
That'll be a fun project. Do you have enough drives to populate it?
I don't have enough drives, and so I'm looking at pricing drives, and that's going to be the expensive part, because if I did it the way I want to, I would end up spending about $100 to $120 per drive, and that would be a maximum of 8 drives based on the number of connections that you can get out of the 8088 SAS to SATA cable. And with the PCIe card, you can hook up 2 of those cables, and you can get up to 4 drives per cable. So you can get that 8 drives, and I'd be looking at probably 12 terabyte drives each if I did it the way I wanted. So
Wow.
eight 12 terabyte drives.
Almost 100 terabytes.
Yeah, and
96?
960 terabytes, which that
Almost
should be
1,000. Petabyte. Is that what they call it?
That should be more than enough, but you never know. You get that many drives, and you just try and find a way to fill them up. Right, Mordency?
No. I very actively,
Right?
I very actively try not to fill up my 59 terabytes, 64, however you calculate it. I'm over a third, almost half.
Although I did see some 10 terabyte renewed drives on Amazon, some of the HGST, the helium drives, for I think it was $80 or $90 each. And that's
Is that
still
a good brand? Helium?
Well, helium is the technology. Like literally, there's helium in the drive that makes it a little bit lighter, so that way it can spin a little bit faster.
Who makes them?
Many manufacturers. I'm not sure who made those particular ones, but let me see if I can find it again.
I'm gonna try it now. Hold on. Nicotine pouches.
HGST Ultrastar HE10 10 terabyte SATA, and currently that one is $94. But Seagate, no, yeah, that one is the HGST drives or the helium drives. Oh, and here's one for 80 MDD HGST HE10 10 terabyte 7200 RPM 128 meg cache 6 gigabytes per second enterprise drive, $80.
Enterprise, nice.
So yeah, 10 terabyte drives, 8 drives, 800 terabytes. Or no,
I'm gonna try these, Joe. Have you ever had these?
which ones? No.
On nicotine pouches.
I should learn the maths. 80 terabytes.
How many are you supposed to eat at one time?
All of them. That way you get nicotine poisoning and you're puking.
It says put a pouch under your upper lip. Enjoy for up to 20 minutes. Oh, it kind of burns.
You want nicotine poisoning, you just have to sprinkle in a little bit of your cigarette into some warm water and drink it like tea.
Really? I don't want nicotine poisoning. Why would I do that?
To get out of prison.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I'll remember that next time I have to go to prison.
But I might
So what will you be storing on all these drives?
probably,
Home
TV
videos?
shows and movies. Just your and mine home videos, the ones that we make.
Or docking and sounding videos?
Is that what the kids are calling it these days?
Yeah, you ever heard of sounding?
No.
I heard of that recently. Morton,
Not on this show.
You know what that is?
Don't look that up either.
Yeah,
Oh.
we can't put that on
What
YouTube.
sounding?
Yeah.
I'm going to trust you, and I'm not going to look that up.
Yeah, pantomime it, Morton. So that's your thing, and
Oh,
then that's what
Q-tip,
goes inside.
Q-tip love.
Or they sell special rods that go into the end of
Into your
what.
urethra?
Yeah, into your pee hole.
I have too many friends that are special.
How is that even pleasurable? Don't they have to give you anesthesia to give you a catheter? Or do they just shove
Oh
it
no,
in?
I've never had one while I'm conscious.
Oh, man. It
It
sounds
would be better to
awful.
knock me out. Preferable to knock me out.
Oh, they got like hooks.
No. Learning that people enjoy that, and hearing about it was very disturbing to me.
Oh my
Oh my god.
Stop
Sounds
talking,
awful.
people. I have a vivid imagination, and now I'm in physical pain.
We'll
They
tell
sell some of
Jackie to
these
wait till
objects
you're
on
asleep, Joe,
Amazon.
and then just do it to you. Surprise sounding.
It's like barbed wire.
Oh god.
It's a nautical term for
Talking. Barbed wire.
Well, it's ribbed.
Is
Ribbed
it?
for his pleasure.
You want to hear a fun fact about that?
Yes. Yes, I do.
You know the serial killer John Wayne Gacy?
Yes.
He was a big fan of that involuntary sounding. He would take his victims and handcuff them, and then he would put a glass rod into their
Stop. Nope.
hole,
No more.
and then he would hit it with a hammer on the
Oh.
outside.
No.
Wasn't
I
he
told you
good
to
friends
stop.
with Dr. Phil?
I don't know. But yeah, that was one of his ways of being a sick pervert.
Oh.
Sounds awesome.
We are a Linux podcast, right?
No.
We're something.
Wow. So Joe, to manage all those drives, are you going to use? Are you going to create like an LVM or keep them separate, or?
I would keep them separate. The SAS card, the SAS PCIe card, it specifically says no RAID. So I'm assuming that, no, obviously that means that there's no hardware RAID. So I probably could software RAID them, but
Yeah, hardware RAID is a Windows problem.
yeah, I'm just not going to. I'll keep them separate. I wouldn't mind striping them, but then one goes bad and you lose everything.
LVM is pretty cool. I like using LVM. But it's up to you, I guess, however you want to use them.
I have to be able to afford the hard drives first, so I might go with another option first when it comes to hard drives. Because with the adapters that I'm printing...
I mean, like a lower...
I mean, I can get...
capacity?
Yeah, but I could get SSDs, 128 gig SSDs for like $10 each, and then just to test it out, and then slowly replace them with larger drives. And the adapter, if I could find the adapter that I printed, which I'm not seeing right this second, must have put it away. Oh, no. I must have put it away. But it's a Thingiverse model, and it will take either the 2.5 or the 3.5 inch drives, and then you can put it into the 5 1/4 bays. At least plastic is cheap.
That is true.
What is that? The name of that? It's a new form. Well, I guess it's not new. It's been around for about 10 years. Format
DFS?
that they no, it's not that kind of format, but it's like a type of software that you use to create what they call a pod, and basically it's
DFS?
no, it's not that kind of. It's what they use to create a pod, which is oh shit. Let me just look it up.
While you're looking that up, I can't find anything about Dr. Phil being friends with John Wayne Gacy.
I didn't
But I
know
thought
that.
I'd heard that.
I never knew
I
that
thought
was
I'd
a
heard
thing.
that. I searched and I can't find it to confirm. So that's either the Mandela effect or effective Google scrubbing.
So for those of you that watch the YouTubes, this is the 3D printed adapter. I mean, it's a really simple print, and it just, 5 1/4, and you have all the different screw holes on the side for 5 1/4, and then the bottom portion is set up to either take 3.5 on these outer ones or 2.5 on these inner ones. I mean, I could go for some of the boxes that you can 3D print that'll hold like 3 in like, or 3 hard drives into like 3 slots of 5 1/4, and then has the slide-in rails. And I could 3D print the rails too, or just buy a whole bunch of them for dirt cheap. But it's a more complex print and just adds more, bullshit to the build. So I'll probably just stick with something like this.
Okay, it's called Solid.
Haven't heard of it.
Yeah. So Solid works. What it is, in Solid's world, everyone's personal data lives in a pod. This is your personal data locker where your media files and personal data all live together. One solid pod belongs to one person, and it's a W3C spec. It says your solid pod looks and works very similarly to Google Drive, iCloud, or Nextcloud to the user. It just feels like a big folder with your stuff in it. In fact, using a pod that way is not out of the question, but the technology serves a much bigger purpose. Solid pod can take documents, media, or data, like metadata. What's interesting about this involves how solid apps can work with the solid pod. Instead of relying on a database, these apps read data straight from files in your pod. Data is specifically formatted in such a way that solid apps can read it. So a solid app connects to your pod, like say you have a solid app that is for recipes, so you copy it into, or you connect your app to your pod, and it'll save it into your pod within its own little folder with a little bit of metadata. And the reason I found this because ActivityPub is going to create activity pods, which is a solid pod with ActivityPub decentralization, so it can federate it. Trying to look at something.
Now,
I'll put it in the show notes.
Netminer, you were talking about those 3.5 inch drive adapters, so that you could use them externally, and they just plug into the back and they have their own power supply. I was thinking about getting a couple of those for all of the, DVD burners, drives that I'm going to have when I take this thing apart. just so I can have some external DVD ROMs.
Put the link in the show notes if you guys want to see what solid is. It's actually just a specification.
Where is your stuff stored? Say it was a W3 bucket.
It says your specification that lets individuals and groups store their data securely in decentralized data stores called pods. Pods are like secure web servers for data. So you could create a pod anywhere. Like you could create it on all those drives if you wanted to. When data is stored in a pod, its owners control which people and applications can access it. So I think the solid spec does away with the need for databases, so that you just have the data itself stored within your solid pod. Whatever wants to access it, it's up to you to give access to your... Anyway, I haven't really researched it too much, but that's came across it this past week. Don't ask me a bunch of questions about it, Honky. Because I don't know. I can't answer.
Didn't do any research.
Oh.
Sure, if it was a dating app, you'd be all over it.
No, I'd do a deep dive into it.
Deep dive. Did you do any testing of any of that?
Oh, no, didn't do any
Go
testing.
out there in the wild and...
Danny is... Oh, go ahead.
I think they're being a little slippery with that. It may actually be a data definition specification or language. So what the database, they're redefining what a database is, rather like ZFS redefines what a file system is with its own deduplication and coherency checks and whatnot.
Yeah, I think you're right. From looking at the webpage, it does that. It says it uses a common shared way of describing things and their relationships to one another that different applications can understand, which is basically a database, how you would describe a database.
What they're trying to say is it's not MariaDB, it's not a Postgres, it's not this, it's not that, but it is definitely creating another generic and what I would seem to be hierarchical data definition schema of some kind. Although if it's just a specification, they can hide a lot of complexity under the hood by just saying the application has to use our library or what have you. So you know, like everything is a small matter of programming, but there seems to be a lot of hand waving going on and not a lot of solid information, at least at the level that it's being presented.
By the way, Freejack is on Freevee, which is on Amazon, so you can watch it there.
Good deal. So, Danny, you decided to do some updates?
Apparently so. I'm using Fedora 40 now, which has nothing to do with Jitsi, but I haven't messed with it enough to see, like, supposedly the new plasma is like supposed to be incredible and gives you a option for tiling windows and stuff like that. And I haven't tested anything out. But I mean, as far as the update went, that went fine. I just used Discover ADE to do the update, and it took a while, maybe like 20 minutes. I usually nuke and pave and just do an update or just install the new OS, but this time I just updated to Fedora 40 from 39 and really didn't have any issues. But except now Jitsi, the application doesn't work, the Jitsi client. I updated the Peertube to the newest version, 6.1. I updated Jitsi. For some reason that doesn't want to record, so I had to roll back to the previous version of Jitsi. I updated Proxmox itself, and not much to it. It's just like an apt update, but it's through a web interface. Updated Mumble just to see if the problems that Joe's friend was having last time could have been sorted out, but I don't think it really had to do with the Mumble server to begin with. I'm not sure exactly what his phone issue was, because he said everything he heard was crystal clear from us. Us trying to hear him was... I can't help but think maybe it was still some kind of network issue on his end. WordPress. So I talked before about how I switched to WordPress to get comments on my blog, and I wanted to use the ActivityPub plugin so I could get Federation as well, and you could subscribe to it from the Fediverse. And whenever I activated the ActivityPub plugin in WordPress, it deactivated my blog. And so I posted an issue for it on GitHub on the ActivityPub Git, the plugin Git, which WordPress is owned by Automatic. I think they bought WordPress. They have several. Automatic's a pretty big company. 2 T's. AUTOMATTIC. I kind of looked into them too, just to see what all they do. They do Pocket Casts, podcasts. They do. They have WordPress. They own Tumblr. I think Tumblr was how they started out. Gravatar to make the avatars. Akismet, which is the big spam protection for forums and comments and things like that. Woo. WOO, which is the e-commerce platform. Automatic owns that. Long Reads, big, basically long form article website. They actually have a lot under their belt as far as applications that they own. But they also own WordPress, and they're the ones that were offering the 100-year subscription for a WordPress blog. Honkey! And it was, I forgot how much it was. It was a crazy amount of money. So anyway, the ActivityPub plugin, it like deactivated my website. So turns out what it was, it's a weird thing. It was tripping up over my Funkwell link, because I have a page that says find me on there, and it's got all of my links on the Fediverse, and my Funkwell link would cause it to like go crazy. And so I was chatting back and forth with the developer today, and he fixed it and pushed the fix out to me. He hasn't pushed it to main yet, but so I just edited the plugin and add that fix, and then it worked. The Funkwell was some kind of object deal within JavaScript or something. I'm not. Then he merged it to trunk, so it works now. So you can subscribe to my blog from like Mastodon or from any federated application and follow it just like you would follow a regular user, you know. Whenever I push a new article out, it'll show up on the Fediverse. Do you guys know the website called It's Foss? F-O-S-S, It's Foss. So they posted a link saying, do not share our links, or they posted an article saying, do not share our links on Mastodon. And what happened, which I didn't know about this, was called the Fediverse effect. Is if you share a link to a website on any federated application, that link immediately gets federated, you know, throughout the Fediverse, and it starts pulling down all this data. So like they had, I think, a 12 kilobyte image or whatever within the link to a post that was shared on Mastodon, and in 5 seconds, it pulled down 256 megabytes for a 12 kilobyte link. And so they were getting basically like a DDoS attack on their server every time somebody would share a link on Mastodon of theirs to a story on It's Foss. So they were saying, don't share our links on Fediverse, basically, which I never thought about that. So, you know, whoever's push, you know, say I share a link, and then all my followers, it gets federated to their timelines, and then whoever follows them, you know, it gets pushed out to all those other timelines. So it's like, you know, it's just immediately pulls down all this data from your server. Since I self-host, it's not going to hurt me. But if you're paying for a VPS and a data cap or whatever, then you're probably going to get hit pretty hard. Honkey gonna make it? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, you're there. I can see you. I can see your head slowly sliding down, your chin slowly sliding down your chest.
No, I'm listening.
You know, that's what my grandpa always used to say as he was nodding off. Yeah, I'm listening. Well, what'd I say then? Oh, you know, you were talking.
Fediverse this.
Yeah.
WordPress that. Blah, 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 blah.
Some jibber jabber. I don't know what you're talking about. As far as tech related stuff, I haven't really. That basically, I was happy just to get that working. I do have lots of projects in the pipeline, though. I still haven't tested out the 3D printer with the glass bed.
Can't even be bothered to print out a Penchy.
I did do some testing, and if I crank my bed temperature up to about 100 degrees, I can peel off the that magnetic tape. Now, because you have the glass stuck on top, you might have to go underneath with like a bed scraper or something to get it started.
Oh, okay. So you're talking about
removing the magnetic sheet.
Right, that's underneath the glass that's attached to the bed itself. So you cranked it up and you noticed that you could peel it off?
Yeah.
Well, if I ever need to take it off, I just...
Well, you should be able to take off that glass bed with every print so that way you can remove the print or clean the glass bed.
We can't hear you, Danny.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
it's a little better.
No.
I don't know if I can or not, to be honest. I don't know how stuck on there it is.
Well, that's why I was saying I did some testing and cranked it up to 100 degrees, and that magnetic sheet, the stickiness, it just started coming right up.
Oh, okay. So it didn't. What you're saying is the glass came off of the magnetic sheet, not the magnetic sheet came off of the bed?
No, the magnetic sheet came off of the bed. Look, your glass should not have a magnetic sheet on
No,
it.
it doesn't. It doesn't. It's just stuck by what I don't know how it's stuck on there, but me heating up the bed. And
I don't know either. I don't know.
Well, I saw somebody just do that on YouTube, so that's the way I did it.
Oh.
But I don't know. I don't think it's going to come off, you know. Unless I do, like you said, heat it up to 100 degrees or whatever. Will mine go up that high?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yours is the Ender 3, so yeah. Mine, I have an Ender 3 V2. You have an Ender 3 V1, I think. But yeah,
Ender 3 Pro.
You have the Ender 3 Pro. Okay, so came out right before the Ender 3 V2. The bed temperature should get up to 100 degrees, especially if you ever plan on printing like ABS.
Okay. Good to know. I dried out all my filament using that filament dryer and sealed it in with the food saver.
But you haven't printed anything yet.
No, I haven't. Oh, we should mention, since we're talking about 3D printing.
Honestly, if you have your 3D printer set up and you got the bed leveled, you should start printing something now.
Oh, Joe. Hard.
Oh, that's cool.
Look at that, a snake?
No, it's an octopus tentacle.
Yes, it is.
Octopus tentacle phone stand.
Cool.
That's cool. And I bet it printed really quick, too.
And there's an elephant.
Yeah. That's an even quicker print. 45 minutes tops. So you could have something printed by the end of the show, Danny.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. Audio is kind of.
Oh,
So
you're
who's
just
going to
ignoring me.
It's going in and out. I hear it hinted, but I can't hear what you said.
Print
Danny.
something.
Yeah, I heard int something, but I don't know what that means.
Print.
Int?
Print.
I don't know what int is, so we'll save this conversation for next time. Let's see.
Is anyone going to the Southeast Linux Fest?
No. I'm not even going to TLF unless it, moves out of Austin and comes back to Dallas.
I miss Linux festivals. The Southeast Linux Fest, when is that?
First weekend of June. Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
And it's in North Carolina?
Charlotte, North Carolina, at the Sheridan Airport Hotel, I think.
Yeah, I have a big trip coming up in September to Japan, so I don't know. Well, I guess I could take off like a weekend or something. June. Are you gonna go?
I think I'm going to fly and not drive.
How long is the drive for you?
8 to 10 hours.
And just steal a car when you get there?
No, just Uber to the hotel. Or shuttle. I think they do a shuttle to the hotel.
Well, it's difficult to steal a car.
With the Flipper Zero?
Okay, newer cars I don't know about, but, find something made in the 90s.
Before we get too far away from 3D printing, I wanted to do.
Did you start a print?
No. I wanted to put this in the show notes. The SBC case builder. Y'all see this in the Matrix?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It looks pretty cool. SBC Case Builder 3.0 came out, can create thousands of cases for popular SBCs, standard motherboards as well.
How about that one, the one mini PC that you sent back, that whole box of?
Well, it already has a case.
Yeah, but you could have made a cool one for it.
I still have to make cases for all the SBCs I have that don't have cases.
Now, which
I'll put the link in the show notes.
Which was it? SCAD this is based on?
It's based on OpenSCAD. Open
SCAD, that's it.
Which I have on my computer and I have used a couple of times.
Is it easy to use, or?
I use it for models. Like I haven't made my own, but a lot of people will make models and put them on like Thingiverse or whatever, and then you can modify them how you need them, and that's relatively easy. I mean, if you know any kind, even if you don't know coding, it's still really easy. You just find the right section and change a number so that it's the appropriate size, and voila.
Right. It says version 3.0 comes with many improvements, but the main focus was to reuse existing and new PC standard form factor cases by creating single board computer adapters and custom I/O shields. Since the developer noted many users lamented the lack of enclosure or a poor choice of cases when SBCs were announced on websites. That's pretty cool. So you can it has a big list of
Have you guys done anything on the Lugcast lab yet?
I have not, no. You're the only one I think that's been using it.
That's really kind of sad.
Yeah, it is. But you know, I got a family and kids and all this stuff, and
No, you don't. You have a cat.
well, I have fish. Those are kids.
Yeah, but they're in school.
Ah,
Wah, wah, wah. Actually, I didn't
I'm
even
playing
feed my
around with-
fish today.
I'm playing around with Podman containers, trying to figure out how to get everything routing and working properly, just for small individual containers and pods with containers inside.
How do you like
And,
it?
How do you like it? I find it frustrating because I can't get stuff to work.
Is it networking that's hard?
I have no idea. I don't know if I'm doing the routing of the ports correctly. I'm pretty sure with GetT, I'm not setting up all the configuration enough so it is storing things in a database.
Usually a database will have the different port than the actual web interface will.
So, yeah. So I need to understand how to set all that up properly. If I can't figure it out in Podman, I'm just going to go back to not using the tool and doing Docker by hand. Because when I do that, everything works. But I'm doing this so I can get a job where I'm orchestrating all this.
That's where the big
And
money
that's what
is.
I can't get to work.
That's
what I can't get to work. Yeah. I found one for $750.
Jeez. Awesome.
$250 to $750.
I'll take $250.
Well, I'll take $750.
I feel a little buzz from this nicotine thing. Do you ever use nicotine, Mortency?
Nope. I am partially into my green guillotine, green tea.
Do you feel a buzz?
From the caffeine?
Yeah.
No. Nope.
What is the taste?
Green tea that's sweetened with agave and has vitamins in it. It's a nice.
By the way, I
ice
want to
green
say that we love Liquid Death on this show. We like their sparkling waters. We like their green teas. We like. We're always putting their name out there. And
Liquid Death makes it, we like it.
Yeah, we love Liquid Death, and I don't think a show goes by where we don't mention Liquid Death.
They
Liquid
should
Death,
definitely
Liquid Death,
sponsor
Liquid
us.
Death, Liquid Death, Liquid Death, Liquid Death, Liquid Death. So there you go.
Hashtag murder your thirst.
Liquid Death, Liquid Death, Liquid Death.
Hashtag death to plastic.
Hashtag death to plastic.
Now, does it taste like the other teas, which is kind of the other teas I thought had like a almost like a watered down or like mild, we'll call it a mild taste.
Not watered down, mild.
Not watered, mild taste.
And not too sweet, just the right amount of sweetness.
Just the right amount of sweet. I don't like a lot of sweet in my tea, but
Does it
it doesn't
taste
have
like
that.
tea, or does it taste like
This tastes like green tea, like a good green tea.
Okay.
The the slaughterberry kind of reminded me of the last raspberry iced tea I had.
All right.
And I don't know what fruit they... natural flavors, raspberry, blueberry, and blackberry.
By the way, that SBC case builder, Joe, it outputs STLs. That's pretty cool.
Good.
Oh, I know one thing I'm working on, which I haven't got, I just started on, was you guys remember the whole BBS thing we were going to get up and running? So I finally got Debian installed on the Atomic Pi, which is an x86 board, single board computer, small one with the giant heatsink and stuff. And I'm trying to put the BBS on that. Maybe I'll have better luck since I'm using x86 instead of an ARM single board computer. Before, I just could never get it to work right. I could get it to where you could SSH into it, but I couldn't get the web interface to work right. So if you just wanted to go on the web and go to Lugcast land for the BBS, it wasn't working. But I like this little nicotine pouch, Joe. It says it doesn't actually
Good
have
for
any.
you.
It doesn't actually have any tobacco in it.
Just nicotine.
It has 8 milligrams of nicotine at the time of manufacture. Does that go down over time, I guess, or up? I don't know. But
I would expect it to go down.
Go down. So what the juice you use for your vape? How many milligrams does that have in it?
Well, that depends. Premix, it's 100. After I mix it down, it's like 3.
That's what you like, 3 milligrams?
Yeah, but it's because I drip. And so I get a lot of the nicotine in. But like if I were to use a tank or something, then maybe I would go with like a 12.
Oh, that high, really? So I was looking at like traditional snuff, like Copenhagen. That has 14 milligrams of nicotine per gram, and a gram is about an inch, put in your lip. So that's like almost twice as strong as this. But that always looked gross to me. Plus, it stains your teeth. It's brown and makes you spit and stuff.
Gives you cancer.
Yeah. This doesn't say anything about cancer on the box. Does nicotine give you cancer?
Nicotine is not a carcinogen, but it can cause other problems because it can elevate your blood pressure.
Yeah, I heard it's a vasodilator, I think.
A vasodilator, yeah.
Yeah, so it gives you, it can make your blood pressure rise, and also read that
it can harden your arteries.
Oh, really? I also read that not supposed to use nicotine products before you work out because it dilates it prevents your muscles from getting the maximum amount of blood they need.
Okay.
That's just what I read.
I'm sure, but I'm not trying to enter any bodybuilding shows, so.
Well, no. But I mean, I'm saying mainly for like cardio activities and stuff like that. Like I wouldn't use this before I went on a mountain bike ride or something. But it's kind of nice. I kind of like it.
I would use this in the middle of a mountain bike ride.
Probably would. Yeah. You'd
But
probably have
I'm a
vape
junkie.
connected to your mouth.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm addicted, what can I say?
Hopefully I don't get addicted. I think I'm addicted to coffee. Caffeine. Do you need coffee or energy drinks every day? Or can you do without them?
Me?
Yeah.
I can go some days without them, but mostly I'm going to have them.
I have to have them.
You have to have them, Honky?
Oh, yeah.
Now, do you get a headache or anything if you don't have caffeine? Or
I
is
don't
it
know.
just
I
hard
can't
to
say the
wake
last
up?
time I haven't gone without caffeine.
Really?
He does
No,
work
I
at
don't
a
think
place
so.
that, it's readily available, so...
Because I've heard of people having headaches, like before they have their morning coffee, or if they don't get a Dr. Pepper or something like that. So I don't know.
Oh.
I've never had that happen, but I do like to have coffee in the morning.
Junkie with a monkey.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't recall getting headaches, but...
But so the first thing in the morning, do you have coffee, or do you have an energy drink? Coffee.
Coffee. I don't do many energy drinks. I'll try them every once in a while. I enjoy caffeine. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. It's weird. I don't know how to describe it. It almost, that much caffeine sometimes it feels like it almost settles my brain. That's about the only way I can describe it.
Do you have...
Caffeine aficionado.
Now Morncy's a big caffeine guy too, I think.
you have
Or
like
used to.
adult
I
ADHD?
cut down.
Probably.
I cut down dramatically. I used to consume a massive quantity of caffeine.
I still do.
How many 2 liters did you used to drink? Mornsey? Sure.
When I was a teenager, I would drink about 5 2 liters of Pepsi a day.
It's crazy. Every time I hear that, it's just like, holy cow.
Plus what I got free at the 2 restaurants I worked at.
10 liters of
crazy.
soda.
How can you even look at Pepsi after
I
that?
don't. They put a high fructose corn syrup in it now.
Now, is caffeine bad for you?
Much like nicotine, it raises your blood pressure and can cause, like artery hardening and
Really?
yeah. But it is good to help people with like adult ADHD to focus instead of being distracted by everything. It's also good for like kids with ADD. But it still can cause a lot of problems, especially if you have like hypertension or high blood pressure.
I surprisingly don't have any high blood pressure issues. Raised blood pressure issues. Cholesterol.
I didn't have cancer or high blood pressure till I stopped drinking massive amounts of caffeine. Coincidence?
Coincidence.
I don't know.
Correlation.
Sounds pretty solid to me. Well, better not get in something like that. Get kicked off YouTube permanently.
Yes.
Can you fly with Jello?
Can I do what?
Can you fly on a plane and have Jello in your carry-on?
Oh, like already made or premix or?
Already made.
Is that, I don't know, is that considered a liquid?
I was thinking about bringing my homemade vitamin-rich caffeinated gummies to Self.
Oh.
Well, gummies are okay. Jello isn't though.
Well, that's how I make them, is with Jello. Gelatin.
Or are they harder than Jello?
Depends how much water I put in.
What is the stuff they use in like vegetarian capsules instead of gelatin?
There's several different ones, but usually it's a xanthan gum.
Anthem gum. Because I just bought another thing of capsules, those empty capsules that I was stuffing with the creatine, and I noticed they had a vegetarian one, but I couldn't remember what they were made out of.
Matt, look, with your creatine, I mean, you can mix creatine with anything, including like cooking. So what I do with mine is I just mix it in with my oatmeal, and it's not like it changes the flavor or anything.
I take the alkaline buffered creatine, because the regular creatine gives me a terrible like bloating and
That's
makes me
because
feel
you're
like I
not
gotta take a shit all the time.
you're not drinking enough water.
I am though.
You're not. You're
Yes,
not.
I am.
If you're having side effects from creatine monohydrate, then yeah, you're not drinking enough water when you take the creatine monohydrate.
Maybe, I don't know.
And creatine monohydrate is like the lowest cost of them.
It is.
So,
But I had to. That's why I take the buffered creatine.
well, I like the new
gastro.
studies that are coming out about creatine and how it helps also support like brain health and can help prevent like Alzheimer's or slow down Alzheimer's.
Yeah, I sent my friend a link about that because he just started taking creatine. I said, yeah, it's one of the few supplements that actually works. And I forgot what the study was. It was sharpens mind. Okay. No sleep, try creatine instead of coffee to sharpen your mind. It said creatine does more in the morning to wake you up than coffee does. It has
What if I combine the two?
multiple brain benefits, especially if you are tired due to sleep deprivation, it says.
You mean every day?
Yeah. Well, they gave they had a study where they gave one group creatine, one group caffeine, and then one group was placebo, and they found that after sleep deprivation doing cognitive tests, the creatine group did better than either of the other two groups.
I was at a political function a couple of weeks ago, and these old ladies were talking about steroids because I don't know how it had come around. They were talking about like their grandkids or something.
Saw your track marks.
And steroids, and they were asking about like creatine, and I had to explain to them that no, creatine is not a steroid, and it is completely safe, and it is like it is the most researched and studied supplement and has so many benefits.
Did they see their grandson snorting creatine?
I guess.
Bathroom? Yeah. There's
we are a Linux podcast, right?
Yeah, we are a Linux podcast. We've been talking about Linux.
All right.
Off and on. This is a lug though, and anything goes.
Fair enough.
Why? What have you been doing Linux related, Honky?
Me? No,
Yeah.
Not much Linux related because I'm still trying to build that thing. I got the.
Yeah, did you
computer.
get all everything?
I got the motherboard. Yeah, I got the motherboard. I put it in, and it was DOA.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So I can show you.
Damn.
Let me show you something.
That sucks.
They sent it in a manila envelope. A motherboard in a manila envelope.
That's
No
quality
padding at
shipping
all.
right there. That's
Now-
well protected.
And then
Brown.
USPS stamped it, received damaged, and
Really?
received unsealed. The manila envelope.
That's crazy.
They put a little piece of cardboard around one side of it and then wrapped it in bubble wrap and shoved it in a manila envelope that it was apparently not really sealed.
Where did you
USPS?
Did you get this on eBay or what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got a refund for it, and I'm waiting for the money to come through because they didn't ask for it back because I told them it was DOA. I did absolutely everything I could with it, and I wanted to at least give it a shot, even though after all that, because it looked okay. Excuse me. There was a couple of pins that were kind of bent a little bit, but it wasn't like bad. I was able to bend them back pretty easily.
There's so many traces on a motherboard, it's hard to. Anything could be wrong with it. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, so power will go to it, and all the fans will spin, but it won't go to boot up to the BIOS. You'll get nothing on any screens. I put 2 different video cards in there, plus the onboard video. It wouldn't do anything. I didn't see it. It didn't light up the hard drive at all. The hard drive got power, but it didn't do anything. So anything I looked at said that means you have a dead motherboard. So
Yeah,
That's
well, that reminds me of my first Pi 5 that I killed by killing the fan connector.
Oh, yeah.
Also, one thing I want to try is something like OS4. It's a Debian, and it has KDE. But what I want to try is it has, evidently there is a KDE 3 clone. I forget the name. The name escapes me at the moment, but is supposed to be a lighter weight, simpler KDE that I would like to try.
Is that like LXQT?
Yeah, it's damn. If I can get to DistroWatch, maybe I can look it up.
KDE 3 clone? I've been seeing stuff in the news about Risk OS for Raspberry Pi. Did you see that?
Did they update it?
That's been around for a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's very old, but they've just ported it to Raspberry Pis 3 and 4s. Maybe it runs on 5 too. I'm not sure. It looks like early or mid 90s Windows is what it looks like. But they just got Wi-Fi to work on Raspberry Pis. I don't know why it's called Risk. I mean, it has nothing to do with the Risk architecture. First released in 1987. So it was developed by the team that created the first ARM microprocessor.
Was it K? Netminer? The K desktop environment? Wikipedia page called for something called K Desktop Environment 3. K Desktop Environment 3 is the third series of release of the K Desktop environment after
That's
the
old though,
called
right?
KDE software compliance. There are 6 major releases in this series after the release of KDE 4. Version 3.5 was forked into the Trinity desktop environment. I don't know, is it Trinity then?
Yeah, this OS4 is a Trinity. Supports the Trinity desktop.
Okay,
Trinity
so it's
desktop.
Trinity. Okay. Found it just took a long way there.
It's Q4 OS. Pardon me.
Okay.
And that's for Raspberry Pi? Oh yeah, Trinity desktop.
They do have a Raspberry Pi spin. Also, the Risk OS actually does have connections to the Risk processor because it goes back to the British Acorn processors that were the first Risk machines produced by the ARM company.
Did you see that they have an image for the Raspberry Pi now? Do you have any interest in that?
I don't think so. I'm going to try to stay with a Debian standard on my Pis. The only reason I would go with Q4 is that I have a Pi 400 and running a single screen. And the reason I run XFCE is for multiple screen support. And if I'm not going to be supporting multiple screens, I will be looking for a lighter weight single screen OS.
I never heard of Trinity desktop. Looking at it now, it does look just like an old school KDE.
Well, I think it was inspired when KDE 4 was such a dumpster fire. People said, wait a minute, let us step back and regenerate KDE 3 using the KDE libraries. And, you know, I think that's what happened. Just like Cinnamon is a reaction to GNOME later version.
I think it started off as a BSD desktop environment.
Quite possible. I don't know the roots, but the whole deal was, just like Mate was a reaction to GNOME and stuff, and why Unity is still being independently developed, even though Ubuntu is not using it as a primary desktop.
So are you going to try that Q4 OS next, netminer?
I'm going to try it on my
Pi 400.
Pi 400, which is the 1.8 gigahertz, 4 gigabyte memory Pi and a keyboard. That's going to be the machine that I'll probably take downstairs if I have to go downstairs because of heat.
Hey, Danny, I put your first two prints into the show notes. The first one's a bed level test, and the second one is a tool for your fish, for your aquarium.
Let me check it out. Let's see. Bed level test is definitely useful. Bookmark these.
No, I'm saying you should start printing that bed level test like now.
Crowd doesn't like that, Joe. I have to go with the crowd.
No, that was the crowd saying they don't like you being lazy.
Well, who will never know. I'm not going to print anything tonight. I have to get up early tomorrow. Oh, here's something just interesting. So I have a cousin that I'm going to see tomorrow. She'll be at my mom's house with my aunt, And she was 8 the last time I saw her, and she's 20 now. And supposedly, I don't know. Well, she's not a she anymore. She's a he, I think. And my mom said to be real politically correct around her and call her a he and stuff. And so I've never had to deal with that before. So I don't. She said she called. My mom said she called my aunt, and my cousin answered the phone, and she thought it was my uncle, because I guess she takes hormones and her voice is and I feel like an old man. Like I'm not used to this new world that we're in. I went to a wedding for my my other cousin. He got married, and his bride is a twin, and her twin sister is a boy now. And my dad was there with me, and he cannot wrap his head around this. He's like, well, so she's a lesbian. I said, no, it's not a lesbian. It's different. She's a guy now. But he's like, well, I saw her. She looks like a girl, but she just had a cowboy hat on and short hair. I said, well, it's different. She's she goes by
Tomboy.
Yeah, it's not. Well, that's what he thought. Well, it's a tomboy. We call them tomboys. And then he said, "Old, BB. That word. I don't want to say it. I'm not trying to be offensive or anything, but he could not get his head around this concept, and so I was like, I feel like my dad now, so I'm gonna have to face that head on tomorrow. This new reality.
Something that people don't seem to be able to understand is, like, you and I, and most of us here, some of us have more, but most of us here have like 40 years of, I'll call it indoctrination, but 40 years of reality being a specific way. And suddenly, they want to change, the definitions, and we're just supposed to be able to magically understand it. Otherwise, we're or bigots,
right,
I should say.
Right.
And
thumbs up as passive aggressive.
Yeah, but like your dad, I assume, has at least 60 years of reality being a specific way of indoctrination of
78 now.
So almost 80 years of things being a very, very specific way, and then all of a sudden he's supposed to pivot on a dime and be the new politically correct.
And by the way,
give the guy some leeway.
He's really my dad is super cool. Like he said, well, I don't care, as long as she or he or whatever it is happy, it doesn't matter to me. He said,
exactly.
I just don't understand it. And I'm the same way. I don't care. That doesn't matter to me, but you're gonna have to help me out here.
I might make some mistakes every now and again, and accidentally say she instead of he. I don't mean anything by it. I'm not trying to be a jerk or nothing.
I'm not intentionally being an asshole or anything. I mean, I'm the same way. Live your life however you want to live it. I don't care. It's just
it's not like I'm going to take a look at your genitals anyway, so I don't really care if you're a man or a woman.
So that's what I told my mom. It's like I don't know. I'm me. I'm a laid back, nice guy. So if I say something that doesn't not seen as politically correct or right, I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm an old man. This is what old men do.
Excuse me, as the resident old man here, being over the classic age of retirement, even though I'm not retired just yet. Don't blame me. It's the Social Security people. I'm still disabled until a few more months. 66 and 8 months, I think, or something ridiculous. Then they retire me. I have ran into on YouTube a good friend of mine who is male to female transgendered, and she was transgendered before it became hip and everybody and his dog was doing it. But if you think of them as persons first, Also, it sounds like at least the person you're going to be seeing tomorrow has found their feet on a gender definition and is not doing one of these things where today I'm female, tomorrow I'm male, and on Tuesday I'll be somewhere between.
That's called gender fluid.
What is that?
Gender fluid?
Yeah.
It means you politically correct. You can't be right because the person
Changes it so that you're wrong every time.
Every time.
That would make my head explode if I met somebody like that. I wouldn't know what to do. But so I just told my mom, don't worry about it, it'll be fine. If I say something fucked up, I'll apologize and whatever. I don't mean anything by it. I'm not, like I said, I don't care what people do. I know people out there personally who are very. It has zero effect on their life whatsoever, but they get so worked up about it, get angry that how could you possibly be somebody that you weren't born as? And
but you do have people that are transitioning that their go-to is to get angry if you make any kind of mistake.
See, luckily I haven't met anybody like that, or else I'd probably be hanged. I don't know, but like I said, I don't care. Whatever you want to do, you just gotta give me some leeway here that may make a mistake. Who knows?
It reminds me of my dad, who was an alcoholic, and as far as I know, straight as a string. But whenever you made a mistake, his go-to would be to get pissed. Some people just take advantage of that. I mean, as far as my transgendered friend, as she is now a content creator on YouTube and a live streamer on Twitch, and she has a line of merchandise that's parodies the My Little Pony experience, and she's just doing her thing, and she's got a partner who's also trans, and they're just cruising along, except for the fact that her partner is English, so it's a long distance relationship half the time, rather like Mortense's with Elle. But the deal is that there are people like that who just want to get through. They don't want to offend anybody. They just want to be able to go to a restroom. They're not looking for displacing anybody from whatever. And then there are the people who are using their difference like a battering ram to say this is
engender social outrage.
So they're like trying to
they're
push
saying
buttons, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah, they're saying if
we're going to get demonetized again. This is hate speech.
if I am a trans male to female trans male and biological females do not want me in the ladies' room, my reaction is not going to be, pardon me, I just need to go to the bathroom. My reaction is I'm going to beat you up, which I have heard on YouTube. Some of the shorts there are absolutely absurd, and they're not the kind of thing that my friend, who's perfectly reasonable, would get into at all, but they're the ones who stand out like a sore thumb, and everybody thinks that these trans people are all assholes, or at least a large number of them are. Just like when you have the pride parades where everybody's showing everything, there are a lot of people of alternate genders who look at that and say, that ain't me, man, or woman.
You know, I was thinking about this because somebody had posted a video about a woman in a men's locker room and it being some kind of outrage. And I was thinking about this. If you had like a partially transitioned woman to man, and like they'd have the breasts removed and they were on the testosterone, and they were in a men's locker room. You know, they hadn't had the lower portion done yet. If they were in the men's locker room and they were in the shower and they had just come out and I was in there, I definitely would not notice that they had a vagina and not a penis, because I'm not trying to gaze at people's meats. I'm not going to be looking at people's genitalia in a locker room, let alone in a regular bathroom. I mean, if somebody is going into the bathroom and using a stall, once again, I'm not going to be checking their genitalia to see, you know, if they've got an innie or an outie. So I don't care who's in that bathroom.
What if they're sounding? Would you find that disturbing?
If they were doing that in a public gym, they probably need to get some serious psychological help.
Well, they just had the urge to sound, and they said, I can't stop.
They're doing it in public because they want help.
I need it now.
No, this is where I turn around and I walk away, and I remember to mind my own business.
It got stuck. All right.
Well, I just saw something on YouTube where what I presume, since I couldn't, this was a shot from the back, what appears to be a young lady, since I haven't checked her blood test, I don't know what her chromosomes were, took off her top and started doing jumping jacks in a co-ed
Commercial gym.
Yeah.
Really?
There's a bunch of those videos. Girls doing pull-ups topless.
Topless?
But they only show the back.
But people are around them in the same gym.
It's they might have tape on, who knows, but it's to make a funny video about, you know, reactions when you see that.
Well, also, a lot of the gym outfits that I've seen, and people, they talk about guys looking, a lot of these are more revealing than most bikinis. And then they wonder why guys are might stop for a moment.
I've seen a lot of the, oh, this guy's a gym creep videos that come up where, you know, a guy glances in their direction and then they like slow down the video to make it look like the guy was like staring at them or something. But Joey Swole usually takes care of those videos, so...
Also, I've also seen a lady doing, I don't know, she had the bar across her shoulders, and she was doing a set, and she got stuck down, and the lady, and it was I don't know with the video, but there was some time before she got any help.
Yeah, there's a lot of videos right now of women getting stuck in the gym and guys being unwilling to help because, you know, they're afraid to be called creeps. And plus, you know, helping someone with a squat, it's the proper way to do it. It's, you know, kind of butt to pelvis.
Yeah.
Well, also, I saw a video where they were using a leg machine or whatnot, and they got stuck. and the guy who came out to help just stepped over
Crotch and face.
the torso and lifted the bar into a locked position, and the commentator about the video said that this was absolutely the correct
That's Joey
resolution.
Swoll, and that is the correct way to save someone in that position. You watch Joey Swoll videos and you just didn't know it.
Well, you know, the shorts don't have the same details as an ordinary video.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you know, there's a certain amount of space that should be given to somebody who's doing a rescue. Unfortunately, everybody says, well, you know, if you're doing chest compressions, you're fondling a woman or what have you, whatever. No, not, you know.
Look, if you're about to die doing way too much on a bench press, and the only person that can spot you and save you is a little bit scrawnier and have to really get over top of the bar to help you, you're going to get teabagged. It's teabag or death. Take your pick.
And also, this kind of thing is, you know, this is a hypersensitivity, and sorry, if I'm drowning or whatever, I'm not going to care too much about the plumbing of the person that pulls me out of the water.
Bag or death. Is that what Braveheart said on the field? Give me teabag or give me death. Y'all see that two-headed girl got married?
No, I did not see that.
I guess she got
the
married
conjoined
a
twin.
couple of years. Yeah, the one. Remember that two-headed girl?
They're joined at like the chest cavity.
Yeah, and they had like a TLC show, and
Yeah.
apparently, well, one of them got married. News. But
Well,
if one of them gets married, doesn't that mean that both of them?
Well, if one of them has sex, the other one does. Technically, they're still two people.
Because they got two heads, two brains.
Yeah.
They share a body. Is it the body all the same? You got two legs and two arms, right?
Right, but one head may manage one side and the other head manage the other side. I've seen some of their videos where they're driving or whatnot.
Does that count as polygamy?
How does that work? So,
Not technically, because he would only be married to one of them. But the other one would be there.
but if you're having sex,
I'll have to be.
Also, if you go back to the original Siamese twins, which were two guys, they were, I think each one of them was married to different ladies. So, people in those circumstances have to be somewhat adaptable, I guess.
yeah, the guy got married to the girl was kind of a stand-up guy. He was a Army veteran, and he
Well, like our esteemed Joe, somebody who has seen the elephant, like the Army
he's a
guy.
nurse too.
Well, some of the people who've seen the elephant like that, they have a far more solid grasp on the variability of reality than a lot of common Joes.
Yeah, he's got a medical background. He's a nurse, an Army veteran. So, would you like to have two heads? Do you think that would come in handy, like doing programming or something? You can.
It would take arguing with yourself to a whole nother level.
You can look at Stack Overflow with one head and then type with the other head.
Like I'd end up punching myself in the face.
Oh
Soul
man, imagine
pair
if there's two
programming.
Joes. How do they get paid? I wonder. Because they're teachers. I wonder, do they get one paycheck or they get two paychecks, or
Each of them get half a paycheck?
that'd be one paycheck.
Well, that brings job sharing to a higher level. But it also, back in the days of the Reader's Digest, I remember somebody saying, what characteristics do teachers need? And the young teachers would saying, they have to be friendly, they have to be whatever. They went through a lot of stuff. An older teacher who'd been in there said, what she's got to have is good peripheral vision. So if you've got a teacher with two heads, her class is basically under the supervision of one person can be dealing with the material and the other person is dealing with keeping an eye on the environment, shall we say.
As they're dicephalous twins, rare form of partial twinning, two heads side by side, they share a bloodstream and all organs below the waist. Abby controls the right arm and leg while Brittany controls the left. So that's like what you were saying, netminer. Each head controls one side of the body.
Yeah, well, I think that talk about having a meeting of the minds before you get married.
Yeah, so it's one person below the waist. Like, I guess they can feel everything. Each head can feel everything below the waist. So if you're married, what does the one head do? Just look away and...
Well, lay back and think of England is an old tradition. But
I want to make a comment about a blowjob.
Go for it. What is your comment?
I'm just saying it's got to be kind of interesting.
Go nuts.
Also, it is not necessarily described whether the structures below the waist are duplicated or not in the pelvic area.
Yeah, it just says they share a bloodstream in all organs below the waist, but it doesn't say multiple organs below the waist, or...
Well, anyway, these are people who are dealing with complexities far above the average newlywed or...
I'm just glad they found love.
Yeah, good for them.
Yep. I mean, there's a lot of people. One of the YouTubers that I follow, a couple of them that I've followed on the shorts, they no longer show up, is one of them is she lost a leg, and a lot of her videos are about how she deals with various stuff and how she's going through various remedial surgeries and whatnot. And another one is a couple where the guy has got like Lou Gehrig's disease or something. He's very, very skinny and very light. And his wife, and I guess was a caregiver back in when they met, you know, she takes care of him in ways that are almost forgotten in a lot of regular marriages.
Honkey, Nano got an update. Is that your favorite text editor?
It's my favorite terminal text editor.
You
Mine
didn't
too.
say it's your favorite. You said it's the best.
It is the best.
What was this criteria you had?
Which text editor?
Nano.
Honkey, have you looked at Micro?
I think I did. I didn't give it a whole lot.
My friend, he uses one that's clickable, one that looks like a Windows. Is that called Pico or?
Micro.
Oh, it's not Micro. Micro is actually pretty cool.
Didn't you bring micro a while back?
Yeah.
We were playing with it on the during the show.
Yeah.
Something.
That one's
might have
pretty
been.
cool.
I think I installed it at the same time, and I played around with it a little bit. I don't know. Nano is just so basic and simple. It just when you just have to go in and do something quick, it's dead simple to do.
Plus, it's installed on pretty much every distro.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna have to chase down what the new improved micro is like. I mean, it's like new improved water.
Yeah, I wonder what they. Well, we have the article here. As it's.
Well, real quick, VI is the only real editor.
Well, I see. I knew someone.
Oh,
was
is that
gonna
what
say
that was all about? Okay. No. If I open up VI, I have to shut the whole thing down just to exit.
Let's get together, one-on-one, or next show. Let's do a little VI session.
What am I doing in VI?
I'm cool with that. Do a VI tutorial.
Yeah, I'm still a noob in VI, and I love it.
Oh,
But Pico is the editor for the Pine Uno, and
Yeah.
Nano's the open source version.
also, you got to remember, I'm dating myself, but when I was on Unix at MIT, PDP-11s and small Vaxxon, the editor was, of course, Emacs, which was developed there. Although whether Emacs is an editor or an operating system is debatable.
Tilde. I think that's the one I was thinking of.
Is what?
That's the one my friend uses because he's a Windows guy.
What's it called?
Tilde, Tilde. I'm putting it in a show note. You'll see it.
Well, there are various generations of Notepad++ or Notepad QQ or Notepad Next Generation, which are clones of famous Windows development editor called Notepad++.
Yeah, this is it says it's a intuitive interface for people accustomed to GUI environments. Or like you can click, it looks like File Explorer, but it's a TLI.
Well,
Click
I'm
on
gonna have to look at our show notes to.
Yeah, I put it in there.
Do you put the GitHub in it or another page?
Yeah, the GitHub, and it shows.
It does. It shows a little terminal. Hotkeys can be used.
So if you're used to
Copy
using a
location.
mouse and or maybe,
But I want to go back to VI. I struggled so much with VI and nobody would help me for 20 years. And I found one Oracle DBA who was relatively new to using VI, who answered, how do I do fill in the blank, these like 10 things, so I can use VI as my daily editor. And it's been a night and day change for me.
now why do you prefer VI now over something like Nano?
It's on every system. Nano is not. There's things I can do in VI that are easy that I have no clue how to do in Nano. And when I search for it, I really don't find correlations to it. It's more like programming and fast pathing inside of a document because you have command mode and edit mode. And now that I know how to undo and how to close and save files properly, it's lovely.
Do you find navigation easier?
Oh yeah, yeah. And once you turn on some syntax highlighting, I can find errors in my code easier. I can find errors in other people's code easier.
What did you use before VI?
Nano. Nano and Joe.
Yeah, I install Micro on most machines.
Notepad++.
Yeah, 9 times in 10, I'm either using Nano or Jedit.
But just like Dro hopping, I used to hop text editors trying to find one that actually worked for me, and none of them did until I figured out how to use VI properly.
I need to look at this video that Joe put in the Matrix. Certification of.
It's an
I watched
interesting
it.
video.
You watched it?
Are they talking about Ubuntu?
No, that guy is specifically talking about if Linux were to become like Windows in the same way that Windows did, starting out as a free service, and then adding tiered service, and then ads.
But aren't they adding? It hasn't Ubuntu done that kind of a couple times now, and now they're doing the pro updates that you can get.
Yeah, and he does go through that, but he doesn't say specifically, that this is about
I know
Ubuntu doing that garbage.
He said E Corp.
Yeah. But it is an interesting video. I like that guy's videos. He does weekly news videos, so.
I heard that Windows 11 is literally putting ads in like the search bar or the taskbar or whatever.
He talks about that too.
Yeah, I get that on my work laptop when I search for stuff.
I
There'll
didn't
be
read it.
articles and ads show in my search.
Why do people put up with that? Don't know any better.
Simplicity. They don't want to learn.
I don't use Windows at home, just for work.
Well, I know that. I'm
Same.
just saying people in general. Why do they put up with Windows shenanigans? They just don't know any better, or is that what it is?
In the last week, I've had so many people argue why Windows is so great to me,
What?
and that's how they got market share and all that. And I was like, you were so wrong on so many levels.
They had head injury, or what's wrong with these people?
They just don't know.
They fed into that corporate line, and they don't want to learn anything else. It's so simple, so easy, it's perfect, it just works. And 10 million ads later, and when I'm done paying to get to actually use my processor.
I remember I was in a quickie course to teach me to basically be a secretary. They wanted to teach me typing, how to use Office 2000. That dates it to 2003, but anyway. And I had created a document, and I'd created a table, and I just wanted my data back out of the table, and Word was not having it. Nope. And just converting stuff to plain text, it just didn't want to do it. And my instructor, who was properly indoctrinated, really didn't like, oh goodness, you broke Windows, or a Windows program. No, I just show how a Windows program was broken. I'd been a DOS guy before that, and I could tell when something was broken. But I guess this instructor had been followed the rules that if you find an error in a Windows program, you're using it wrong.
By using it wrong, do you mean using it, period?
Well, yes. I've got, by the way, I just installed tilde, and it looks interesting, but then again, a lot of these go back to the old WordStar command set that was used in a lot of the MS-DOS, even Borland programming languages and whatnot. So it's sort of back to the future stuff.
Does it seem more comfortable for you to use?
Well, since I've adapted to a lot of stuff, I haven't used tilde enough to see what it is, but I'm just saying that when you look at that screen in a terminal emulator, it is hearkening back to the old DOS application days, which is perfectly fine, since DOS as a command line operating system, I contorted that into an outrageous mess of semi-modern software, especially trying to run 32-bit Free Pascal on it.
Where's Honky? Go to bed. He looked like he was having a hard time. Ask him about this article. There's an article about the Internet Archive. Podcast episodes on there. But currently engaged in a pretty hardcore lawsuit. Copyright holders. There he is.
I had to pee.
Did you see this article about the Internet Archive? Our favorite Nazi, Brian Lunduke. Oh, on Mastodon. So Lunduke says, they're going through this big lawsuit by copyright holders. He says that a number of things are possible, some seeming like a downright certainty. Publishers, authors, and copyright holders of works distributed by the Internet Archive may choose to seek damages. Could put the Internet Archive in a precarious financial situation, to say the least. The archive may be forced to remove other content of questionable copyright, including software, video, and audio archives. Other archival products may now come under increased scrutiny, thus making it riskier to archive and distribute various types of material. The Internet Archive could attempt to appeal the case ever higher, which may be tricky. Unlikely that the archive could win this appeal. His article may be sounding gloom than it actually is. I don't know, but his opinion kind of skews toward, if they lose this, they're going to lose a lot of money. Paying themselves.
Where are their servers located?
Question. I don't even think he mentions that.
Because doesn't that hold some sway as to whether, what courts you're dealing with?
Well, it depends.
Who's copyright?
It depends because
Laws are you going for?
the same thing happened in Vietnam recently, where they had a big, two of the largest online manga distributors. Also some really big movie and TV show hosters based in Vietnam. This was Western material they were hosting on servers in Vietnam, and the U.S. pressured Vietnam passed these new digital copyright laws. They arrested the owners of these servers. Vietnam did, the Vietnamese government did, even though they didn't really have any existing laws on the books at these, but because of pressure from the U.S. and the rest of the West, both shut them down.
I think you got to move your mic back just a little bit closer because you cut in and out every once in a while.
Oh, is that better?
Yeah.
Okay, so they were pressured. Vietnam was pressured by the West to crack down on these guys and shut them down.
So if you stick your server in a country where that isn't going to give a shit about what the U.S. wants,
What country would that be, though?
I don't know. Somebody who doesn't need
Russia?
anything from us.
Russia.
Yeah.
Remember,
There you go, Russia.
wasn't it Switzerland or Finland where the Pirate Bay was located?
Yeah.
And they don't recognize international copyright laws, and the U.S. government pressured them into letting them come in and seize everything?
Basically, yeah. That's kind of what I'm saying. It almost doesn't matter what the country's laws are like. It matters whether the U.S. likes it or not.
The thing that's really shitty about that is that it's not just the U.S., it's the shitty people who actually own the copyrights who are pressuring the governments to go pressure these countries.
Right. Like this list,
Some
main
rich
lawsuit.
asshole who can't stand the fact that the people are giving stuff away for free that they should be making money on.
So this current lawsuit is by a group
like
of
J.P. Morgan and Free Electricity.
book publishers, that don't like the idea that the Internet Archive has a digital library where you can check out a book. So the Internet Archive physically scans these books to make digital copies, and then they run a library on the Internet Archive server. So there was a group of publishers that got together to
Now, I thought
this
the
lawsuit.
actual issue was. Go ahead.
The book publishers say that after a digital book has been read, I think 10 times, checked out 10 times, it needs to be purchased again for the library to share it.
No, I thought it was a little different, but this is just going off of memory. But the whole issue was during the time of COVID, digital books were allowed to be checked out multiple times at the same time. You know what I mean? But then both before and after, there's supposed to be a check-in, check-out system for digital media, so that a book that is purchased once can only be checked out once at any one given time, and then has to be checked in before it can be checked out again.
So this list, the lawsuit says it focuses on two key complaints. The books were digitized, converted from physical to digital form, and distributed without the permission of the copyright holders, publishers, authors, etc. Number two, the Internet Archive received monetary donations and other monetary rewards as a result of freely distributing said copyrighted material, again without the permission of the copyright holders.
Well, they just received money. It wasn't specifically for that thing. Archive.org just takes donations. It wasn't specifically because of the fact of the books.
Said this effectively made the Internet Archive (IDL) a commercial enterprise for the distribution of what is best described as pirated material.
That's not even close to what it is.
That's what the suit.
Yeah, but they're redefining it in order to stop the free release of media.
So, hopefully, if something happens, archive.org will send out some information first.
Do you have a local archive of the show?
Nope. Not have that much backlog of the audio files.
I've got, starting with 4 or something. Should we host it somewhere else as well?
Could.
I mean, doesn't have to be.
Do you know the total size?
No.
I mean, it doesn't even have to be accessible by a podcast app just to have it.
Well, the entire archive, besides being on archive.org, isn't accessible through a podcasting app.
Oh, it's not?
No.
Like, how far can you go?
Most podcast apps only go about 10 episodes, but on the website itself, this version of the website, I'd have to look, but it's probably... Well, excuse me, I want to say it was around episode 100-ish that I set it up on Hostinger, and this version of WordPress, and setting up on Hostinger. It was somewhere in that range where, so it would probably be around in the early hundreds up.
That you can access through the website?
I believe so.
And then before that, they're still on Internet Archive, but they're just not accessible.
All the audio files are on Internet Archive. Yeah. I can just do that. Website has up to 110. But then again, it's not the audio files itself. It's just the links to the archive.org audio files.
Oh, the original audio, do you upload OGG files?
Yes, I
that what that script makes?
upload OGG and MP3.
Oh, and MP3? Okay.
Yep.
So I wonder if we'll get warning if they're going to shut down.
I hope so.
I wonder how big the Internet Archive is.
I can only imagine the amount of stuff that's on there.
So, as of January 2024, there's 90 Internet Archive attests to have stored well over 99 petabytes of data so far. Quite as part of that will have to go on Joe's new DVD storage server. 1 petabyte at least.
No, it would only end up being, what, 120 terabytes?
Right. Oh, for yours, yeah. Well, how many did you say? 10 terabytes per drive?
Well,
80 terabytes?
yeah, it depends. I could go for the 12 terabytes. There's even 16 terabyte drives that I've looked at. But if I went for the 10 terabyte drives, which seems to be the most cost effective, then there would be at most 80 terabytes.
What's that?
If
A
you want to
drive?
send me hard drives, send me hard
16
drives.
terabyte drive.
I sent all mine to netminer. I don't know if he ever used them.
I was talking to the Bitcoin billionaire.
Oh, the one showing the box on the...
Mhm.
They have to get a lot more for me to be a millionaire, let alone a billionaire.
Is there a script that you can scrape the archive if you wanted to, Honkey? Instead of downloading each thing file by file?
I would imagine there would be.
Like you could target just what you've uploaded?
Right. I think the hard part would be, you know what, I might be able to come up with something. I was going to say the hard part would be the namings of the files when we first started uploading them was a little bit different. The naming of the audio file itself was a little bit different. But I think if I can just do it by the Linux Lugcast, I may be able to do it that way. I don't know. A lot of audio files.
I'm sending a link to an article on using Podman containers under System D. It's under linuxconfig.com, I think.
Sending an article. Put it on the show notes?
No, I sent it as email to, since some guys were looking for
So is that for using it outside of cockpit?
Yeah, it uses something called quadlet. I don't know the details. I'm not real up to it, but it sounded like something that you could use. And I just sent it off as an email.
Good death, if you're listening.
Separate time.
Currency is now starting a new one. Word line. He just can't get enough. None of us can get enough of liquid death. What about y'all? Y'all got any plans this weekend?
I work on Sunday. And I have a podcast tomorrow.
I work both Saturday and Sunday.
Emergency.
I am going to keep diving into this Podman stuff and see if I can figure out doing stuff from scratch or find a tutorial on how to do it all together or go back to straight Docker containers with and doing all the configuration manually. Till I get stuff working.
Well, this article on linuxconfig.com is about something called quadlet, and it's supposed to show you how to create containers, volumes, and networks with the corresponding systemd units, how to create a multi-container stacks inside using quadlet. I don't know if this helps, but it seemed to be a pointer in the right direction.
Now, if you want to use Compose, YAML's pretty easy to stand. YAML structures.
That's what I was having problems with, was I wasn't able to connect to the services running inside the containers that I'd created with Compose. And I even had Docker people look at it, and they couldn't figure out why it wasn't, the
Oh, it wasn't
port mapping
working.
wasn't working. Yeah.
See what mine looks like for it. As far as my ports, $3,000 mapped to 3,000, 22 mapped to 222. Have a ports tag. Actually, let me send you this.
Well, friends, it's time for me to go from high availability to low availability, I guess.
Good
I'm gonna
night,
shut it down.
netminer. Yeah.
is pretty late.
What do we think?
I'm gonna put this in. Do you have like Markdown and I do a code?
What, an Etherpad?
Trying to post this for Hornsey with the right formatting. Or my Gitty. Anyway, I put it in there. You can take a look at it in the show notes, Hornsey.
Then you're also running Nginx Proxy Manager to handle routing, correct?
Yeah. But I mean, if you like, before I was running NPM, I would I was running Nginx on a separate server than I was running all my Docker applications on. But you can do this two different ways. If you want to run it on the same server, you could pull down an Nginx image and add a port for that within the same compose file, or you can create a different compose file just for Nginx and port map that to the ports that you expose for Git.
Yeah, so somebody else was telling me to put all my containers into one big compose file.
You can. Some people do that.
That doesn't sound like a great thing to do, especially if you're moving towards enterprise deployment of modular pieces.
Yeah, I don't recommend to do it that way, because for one thing, if you want to run compose commands, like you would if you want to do compose, Docker compose stop or restart, it's more tricky to pick and choose which services you're talking about if they're all in one compose file. I like to put a compose file in a folder by itself that I'm going to put that I'm going to run Docker application from. Like I'll have a folder for Git, then I'll put a compose file into the Git folder, and I'll usually have an environment file in there, .env, and if I have any separate volumes, they'll go in that same folder. So when I run compose commands within the Git folder, it only affects the Git application. And I'll use a separate folder for each Docker application.
That was what I was wanting to do.
Yeah, to me that makes the most sense. But like this compose file is in a Git folder. A lot of times I'll make a user for Docker, or not for Docker. I'll make a user for the application. Like I'll make a user called Git, and then I'll add Git to the Docker group. Then that's all they have access to. If you don't want to do that, you can add your own user to Docker group, but I tend to do it per application. I don't ever run Docker with sudo or anything like that. I'll add it. Sorry. Were you guys getting tired?
Well, I got to get up early. It's almost 1. We need to do classes here.
Linux Lugcast School.
Joe wanted to
I'm
learn
down
about
with
NPM.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we do need to do that too.
Yeah, reverse proxies, NPM.
All right. So our next recording date will be May 17th, 2024. Our music is Downright, provided by Klaatu and Broam. And we'd like to thank Minnix for the use of his Mumble server. I've been your host this evening, Honkey Magoo. With us tonight has been Joe.
Good night.
Minnix.
Hi, everybody.
Morton C.
Good night.
And netminer.
Good night.
All right. Good night, everybody.